right, did everyone grab one of each of those? Nope, that's okay. So the first page is just kind of the ins and outs of the class. If you flip it over, you notice I do not have a place for you to sign and your parents to sign, because guess what? It doesn't really matter. It's not a binding agreement. Been teaching quite some time, and I did it for like my first 2 years and then realized this is silly. So something to note is you'll notice up in the top left-hand corner of the board up there, you see something counting. That's because I record every one of my classes. I post every video of my class on Schoology, which is what you would all have on your My Cherry Creek. And in there would be a link to the video of the class. So if you ever miss class, due to whatever reason, before you come back, try and get on and watch the video. If you come back and say, hey, what I missed, my first comment to you is, did you watch the video? It's kind of the expectation that's in place. So I think it's kind of cool. You have the opportunity that if you missed class, you could stay caught up for the most part. I will also post the notes that I fill out right underneath each video. They'll all be labeled. They'll all be on Schoology. I'll probably create a folder saying, this is this chapter, this, so on and so forth as we go through. So you just go into the chapter we're in. We're currently in SLE, which is solving linear equations. Okay, and that's the first chapter in CP Algebra 1. But that's what I have available for you. So if you need my notes, they're always online. You can always find them. Okay, the bigger packet that you all have is the first few pages of this book. And so at the end of the period, when I have you get your phones back, I'll have you take a picture of the front cover so you know to go over to Bare Necessities, which is our bookstore, which is in the IC building, the next building over. It's $5. If you can't afford it, you just let your counselor know. Your counselor will give you a coupon that you go and take care of it, so everyone can get a book. Okay, but the big packet that you have there is the notes and the homework that goes along with this class. And it's kind of neat how we set up the book. The first front back is the notes, and the next 2 pages will be the homework. You will never take your homework out of that book to hand it in to me. I will come around and spot check what you did. I'm looking for how well you practiced. That means, and if you practiced, you might have made errors. Errors still get you the full points on your homework. Your homework is going to be worth 4 points. I'm not going to give partial, I'm not going to give half points or anything like that. You can get 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 points. 0 means you didn't do it. 1 means you started it, but you have like just 1 or 2 problems done. 2 means you did a little bit more. 3 means you did more than half. 4 means that you attempted, what was assigned. Okay, so those are just a few things. Usually homework will be due the following class period. Yes, I'm going to start teaching today, but I will continue teaching tomorrow, so I don't physically have a homework for you to do for tomorrow. That'd be kind of mean of me. I was like, man, what is he doing this for? Let's see. If you would like to rent one of the bigger graphing calculators, which we'll use a little bit, you can rent them from us. You have to go down to the Math Science Resource Room. I do have a link on the page. That's how you pay for it. I'm not quite sure how much it is. It's like $25, $26 and you get it for the whole year. If you don't want to go, pay $110 for a big old calculator, or you can just have your, preliminary calculator. Just regular science one would be fine. So I don't require a calculator, but it makes things more useful. Like, let's face it, if don't feel like multiplying 12 times 17 and just writing it all down, it's nice to have a calculator right there. I'm not teaching you arithmetic, so if you're not doing so well with multiplication or division, then it's nice to have the tool of the calculator to help you along with the class. Any questions from you so far? I don't know if I have anything else that I have on here, which is huge. But typically how a class will go is, and this will be mimicked more on Friday than it would be tomorrow, because I wouldn't have given you an assignment. But when we get to Friday, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, have your homework out, which you all have the packet that the homework's in now. After this week, you need to make sure you have the book, and you'd have that out, and then I'll just come by and take a look at it, and then I just kind of spot check it. Your points go in for you, and that's the ins and outs of that. We will have tests and quizzes, and I kind of look at it this way. If you ever need to have extra time, if you just put your name on it and you're sitting there doing nothing, I'm probably not going to give you extra time. If you're like, oh my gosh, I have like 3 problems left, just come to me on one of your off periods. Whether I'm teaching or not, you're welcome to come into this room. If it's 2, 4, 6, or 8, as far as those periods, I'm off, and I'm in the office right on the other side of this wall. So please feel free to come in. You can come in during those times to get help with me if you'd like as well, or if you just wanted a place to sit and do some homework, you're more than welcome to come in. You're not offending me at all. Before school, first semester, I'm not really available for help because on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I have our medical class, which meets from 7 to 8:05. And then Tuesday and Thursday, I have meetings. If you ever need to meet with me after school, just let me know in advance so I can ensure that I am here to help you. Okay? And I think that's kind of the thing. So it's up to you if you choose to read through that whole thing and see it, but it's pretty straightforward. My grade book is pretty up to date. I'm a pretty fast grader, so even after tests and quizzes, I'm usually about 3 or 4 hours after you've taken that test, it should be in the grade book, so you can see how you did. And we don't ever give your test back to you to take home. We keep those, but if you ever want to see them, we're happy to have you come in during an off period and happy to go over it with you. Okay? So, going to the big packet, you're on the very first page, and it says working with integers, and I believe it says, let's see, am I on the right thing? Addition, yeah, that's there. All right. Addition. Addition came out a long time ago. That was a way of just counting up. But you know what's kind of silly? The whole concept of nothingness, 0, was discovered by the ancient Aztecs. A lot of people always give, the ancient Greeks did this, the ancient Romans did this. No, the concept of nothingness came out from the ancient Aztecs. That's pretty cool. There's a little cross-curricular knowledge. No, you don't have to know that. I just wanted to give that to you. Basically, if you have the same sign, you would keep the sign. So if both things are positive and you're adding things up, you keep the sign. You'd have 2 different signs. So if you had a positive and a negative number, if the negative number is a larger quantity or further from 0 than the positive quantity, then you'd wind up with a negative answer when adding. If it was a smaller distance from 0 or something like that, you could come up with a positive answer. Of course, you could come up with 0 because if you added, a 5 added to a negative 5, they're both the same distance from 0. They just cancel each other out, so you get 0. So I know you've seen addition before. It's not like your first rodeo, right? All right, subtraction. That's the method of taking things away. Think about long ago how they would subtract things. It would be like, this person has this much of this. Someone comes along and takes a certain amount. We're taking away from it. We're subtracting it. We're lessening our amount in some way. Okay? And then when you're subtracting, you're looking for what the bigger number is. If you had 10 as your first number and you're subtracting 3, you'd wind up with 7. So if we just kind of said that, if we said, hey, if we did 10 subtract 7, well, back in elementary school we could do that. But what if we had 10 subtract 17? And you could look at that this way, and I'll use this a lot of times when I'm talking through it. You have $10 in your pocket. So if we're looking at this example here, you have $10 in your pocket. Something costs $17, and you want to buy it. You still would owe $7. Okay, and I think that's an easy analogy to use. We've all been to some sort of store and probably purchased something, and you look in your pocket and you see what you have. And I realize some people, pay with all different types of methods, but in the old school, having cash and coin in your pocket, this would work. It's like, oh, I don't have quite enough for that, so I need to either ask my friend for it or come back a different time when I have enough money for it. Okay, multiplication, that's just a way of grouping. It's a way, multiplication was developed because they realized when you just add up a whole bunch of things, multiplication was a faster way to get to things. It allows things to grow at a faster rate. If you multiply a positive and a positive, then your answer would be positive. If you multiply a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive, and those are just representing positive or negative numbers. These would both result in having a negative answer, but if you multiply two negatives together, you would get a positive answer. And a silly analogy with that is, if you think of a negative number is not a bad number, but like a negative event's a bad thing. So two negative events happening together makes a right. Two wrongs make a right. I think our parents or guardians had said at some point, two wrongs don't make a right. Well, in math, it kind of does. But so you just have to be aware of that. Yes, signs are important in math. A sign is indicating the direction you are from 0. Negative is to the left, goes all the way to negative infinity. Positive is to the right, that goes all the way to positive infinity. How big is infinity? Bigger than any numbers that you could ever get together. What's the biggest number we can get to? It doesn't matter, because we can always add 1 to it and get bigger. Okay? So, any questions so far for me? Seem okay? All right. Ooh, square roots and squaring. Oh, yay. Now, curveball just came in. So a square root sign looks like this. Squaring means we're raising a number to an exponent. Okay, so know the first 12 perfect squares. 0 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 8 is 64. 9 times 9, 81. 10 times 10, 100. 11 times 11, 121. 12 times 12, 144. I think we have the first 13 perfect squares up there. I didn't obey my own rules. Oh, shame on me. So those are your first perfect squares. And the nice thing is, if you take a square root of a perfect square, you wind up with a whole number. So if I took the square root of 16, that's basically saying, what two exact same numbers would you multiply together to get to 16? In this case, it would be 4. Okay? But you could have a square root of, say, 17, and that's where you find out how good your calculator is by how many decimals it goes out. But the thing about decimals are an infinite region. Okay? Square root of 17 is called an irrational number, because you took the square root of 17, you get something slightly larger than 4 and smaller than 5. So it's 4 point a decimal that goes on and on forever. It never repeats. There's not a pattern to it. It's called an irrational number. It's kind of bonus footage. I don't have to know about rational and irrational numbers right exactly yet. But squaring and square rooting. So if I square something, it just means I'm taking a number and I'm raising it to the second power, which means you're going the number times the number, or the number times itself. So if I said, hey, would you square 7 for me? That would be the same thing as saying 7 times 7, and 7 times 7 would be 49. Have I gone too quickly? Okay. All right. So I'm going to pause there. And now this is non-mathematical, but class questions. Question number 1. Do I record my lessons? Yeah. Am I recording those lessons for you to have the ability to watch if you need to? Where can you find the lessons that I record? Schoology or Schoology. I don't know how to say it. I've heard both terms, and I don't think either of them are wrong. So, what you'll do when you go on to Schoology or Schoology, you go into My Cherry Creek, you find your little, plate or whatever the button says Schoology. I think it's black with an S with a circle around the S, I think. Go in there, then you look for CP Algebra 1, click that, then it would take you to my page. Okay? Do I post my notes? I do. And they are also found on Schoology. Okay, so typically what I will do, especially starting today, you will see, if you go into my Schoology, there might be a couple of things listed, but then there'll probably be a folder for this chapter. And you open up that folder, and in that folder you're going to see, oh, okay, today was August 18th. And I probably have SLE number 1 video. If you click on that, it'll actually take you to YouTube, and you can watch the video. It's just the raw footage of this class. I don't edit down my video saying I only want the instructional piece. It's basically from start to end of the class. Okay, it's just me talking. If I went like this, you're not showing up on my page because it's just me talking. Okay, so anything that's written up there is written here. This is where I'm recording to. And then I'll save, after this class is over, I'll save the video, put it to YouTube. Usually about an hour after this class has left, my video will be up. Yeah. No, this is just information, but thank you for asking. Homework. Do I pick up homework? No. How do I know how you did on homework? Yeah, I will spot check. I will literally walk up and down, take a look at it, see what you got. If you were absent for, a couple days, like, oh, this is this page, this is this page, so let me know, and I can then put those in, and I'll update my grade book. My grade book is updated probably about a half hour after this class if it's just homework. Okay? So, don't wait till at the end of this period, look at your phone going, hey, Mr. Sherb, you didn't put that homework in that I showed you. I know, because we were in class. I'll put it in next period. Okay? Yeah. I just look at completion. And look, if you gave me an honest attempt and you attempted all the problems, even if you got them all wrong, I'm still going to give you full points for the homework. Okay? It's when you don't necessarily try it all. If you get to a problem and you're like, oh, I think I might start it this way, and you start going through it, but then you might make an error, then the following time in class, you say, hey, Mr. Sherp, I didn't know how to do number 7. Oh, okay. And that brings me to another point. Also on Schoology, there are all of the odd problems on video. So if I gave you problems to do, you could go on to Schoology, find the video link. It'll take you to another YouTube page, and it'll go through the odd problems. And it's me working them all out. And it's my voice for all CP Algebra 1. So if you hear your friends saying, some dorky guy's talking on that video, stand up for me, say, dude, that's my teacher. And I make the videos. I'm kind of the video person. I'm the one who's taking care of a lot of the technology things, and I've been doing it for a long, long time. A lot of people are like, why doesn't every teacher do it? I don't know why. It's not hard for me to hit play, and it's not hard for me to hit stop. Some people say, oh, I don't want to record my lesson because what if I say something wrong? What in the heck are you saying in your class that everyone shouldn't be able to hear? I mean, there's a reason why I have my door open. My door is open, 1, because it slams, but 2, I invite anyone to be in my class. Sometimes administrator walk by, they could swing in and say hello. I'm totally fine with that. You might walk by and wave to me. I welcome that. Okay, but I like having my door open. There's nothing that takes place in my classroom that my own grandmother couldn't, be here to see if she was still alive. Okay. Other things. There it goes. And it's still recording. Okay, talk to me. You never have to ask. You just take care of yourself, my friend. Yeah.
So I was just looking at the first worksheet. 4 of the problems are the same.
Really?
Yeah.
On the first question.
Oh, sweet.
4,
It is
5,
10
and 6.
plus 7.
Well, hopefully you get it right. So
1, 4, 5, and 6 are all the same.
So we're going to say that, yeah.
This homework.
I think it would be kind of unfair if I said homework is tonight. Sound good? So what I'll do is, that's why I didn't get all the way through the lesson, correct? There's still maybe a little bit left. So what we'll do is we'll continue the lesson tomorrow. So please bring this packet back. If you happen to get the book, great. Just have to bring your book. Yeah. Who was that?
Is there going to be a top version?
It's totally printout version. So yeah, you have this book. This is the book that you'll buy. And then the nice thing about this book is it's got all the notes. And then these are the same notes you have there. The next page is, yeah. I think we'll have the PDF, but we prefer if all had a book. And if it's a financial problem, you just let your counselor know. Your counselor will give you a coupon to go get a book on your own. Okay, so my friends, you are welcome to get your phone. I would suggest once you get your